Hey y'all, Moses here. Over the last couple of videos, we've talked about how PUBG needs to change its ways in order to improve its standing as one of the, if not the top battle royale game on the market. Now, there are a couple more things I wanted to cover in those videos that didn't quite fit into the theme, but today I'm bringing you 5 of the top changes that I think PUBG needs to make right now, or at least try and work towards once this next patch comes out and through the first half of 2019. We're going to talk about those changes and all the different ways that I think it might affect the game in a positive way, and maybe the negative ways too. So without further ado, let's hear about the PC37X from Massdrop, and then we'll get started. Check out the PC37X gaming headset from Massdrop. The PC37X was a custom gaming headset designed with comfort and performance in mind. The plush ear cups and headband in combination with a crystal clear noise-canceling microphone makes marathon gaming sessions a breeze. Check out the link in the description below and get instant shipping from Massdrop today. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about, and just a heads up, these things are not in real order, but this one I think is the most important one just because I experience it the most. A lot of people are talking about it now, and that is the loot on Erangel and Miramar. I talked about this in the PUBG Crisis video not too long ago, but I believe that the easiest change to make just basic quality of life better on both of these maps is to increase the general availability of basics like ARs, DMRs, armor, helmets, backpacks. You don't have to increase everything. I don't need to have 8Xs in every single building, but just the general availability on Erangel. I think maybe just Erangel is something that just pisses me off on a day-to-day basis. There's nothing worse than hot dropping into Pachinki or even in the military base, places where there should be increased loot, and not being able to find a grip or a tack stock in the entire military base, or running through 5 or 6 houses in Pachinki before you find even a loadout that's serviceable. Meanwhile, you might have 20 people, battling all around you. It's very frustrating to go from lobby to lobby, and if you think about it, you have that lobby wait time, you get into the game, you land, and maybe if you even don't have any initial gunfighting happening, or if you land safe somewhere, you're going to be spending that first 10 to 15 minutes of the game just trying to find decent loot if you don't get lucky. And that can mean very frustrating moments, especially if you die after that 10 or 15 minutes, and then you have to go and start all over again. That could be up to a half an hour with no action, or at least without the ability to really defend yourself in a meaningful way or be aggressive. Whatever your playstyle is, the Erangel loot is so impactful, and it really frustrates me. So I think that upgrading the Erangel loot to just like a 2x AR, 2x DMR, just the basics, just to kind of get you off the ground in those early game situations. And really that's going to be the benefit to everybody. Yes, there is still going to be RNG available. Yes, maybe it reduces some of that wow factor if you find that suppressor, that compensator, whatever. But realistically, I think we've all been playing for so long now, or at least if you're still with the game, you've been playing long enough to say, I'm kind of over just opening door after door in an apartment building that's completely vacant. So I think that upgrading that Miramar and Erangel loot is an easy change to make that would really make the quality of life much higher for the regular player base. So the next thing I want to talk about is the movement and parachuting system. Now, we already have a decent confirmation that the parachute overhaul is incoming. It might show up with patch 24 in the snow map. It might show up a little bit later, but it was on the roadmap. It's been talked about. It's been starting to kind of appear on Reddit and stuff that the parachute overhaul is coming. But I think that the general movement system still needs a lot of work. Comparing PUBG's movement system to games like Blackout, Ring of Elysium, you really start to see the shortcomings and just how often you're hung up on little edges, little rocks, little pieces of debris. I think that the general fluidity of the movement system is impacted by the way the environment is constructed. So maybe on a map like Erangel, that's a little bit more difficult to deal with. I don't think it's as much of a problem on Sanhok, so maybe it does kind of boil down to the level design of maps like Miramar, where I think that the set design was more for the visual aspect, where there's lots of debris and things to kind of get hung up on. But just little things like the gap between like a broken wall and a shed. How often have you tried to jump through those little gaps? And I think you might know the ones I'm talking about and get stuck, or you're just a little bit too fat to squeeze through that little angle and you have to vault, and maybe that slows you down in a street fight. And that can lead to your death in some cases. So the overall movement system, maybe increasing not necessarily the speed of the character, but the way the mantle system works, the way vaulting works, how you can get in and out of buildings in older maps like Erangel. I think an overall overhaul is needed in this case, because I think the movement system is one of those little frustrating things that you just don't really notice outright. Maybe you notice desync more. Maybe you notice like lag a little bit more. But what I find is that all those little instances of desync is not nearly as frustrating, at least nowadays since the desync patch, than having that prone is blocked or getting stuck on a piece of garbage, or you're trying to strafe around a corner and you get hung up on something. I think the movement system and the parachute system specifically, I'm not really going to get too far into the parachute system, but I don't think that you should really need to do like this really elaborate drop system, even though we've kind of figured it out. If you don't have the luxury of knowing the wacky jacky wave as it's become known, then you're at a disadvantage. So having a more intuitive parachute system and a more intuitive movement system would be a huge upgrade to the game. Next up is something, again, pretty close to my heart as a long-term player, and this is more geared towards those long-term players or those who are looking for something more meaningful to work towards than just that chicken dinner. I know there's a lot of you out there that are like just trying to get that first win, but believe me, once you get that first win and that 10th win, that 100th win, however long it takes, there is something lacking, and that is long-term, seasonal or otherwise, achievements and progression. Now, this is a pretty simple one for me. I think if you look at other games, Ring of Elysium has an event pass. Obviously, Fortnite has an event pass. Call of Duty has progression unlocks. Battlefield has it. Every modern game out there needs to keep you playing. PUBG has like the fundamentals of these systems. It has that supply drop wherein we receive polka dot t-shirts over and over again for forever. And then you had that Sanhok event pass that was kind of good when it came out. It had its issues, but it was at least something to work towards that we haven't seen again since. Now, we have again seen hints of a Vikendi event pass for the snow map. For those of you who don't know, Vikendi, snow map, same thing. So there will likely be another event pass for that. But I'm talking like challenges and achievements that have meaningful rewards. I'm talking, you can go both sides of the coin here. Like, let's say 1,000 kills gets you a golden level 3 helmet skin. Which is a lot. 1,000 kills can take you, potentially months, if not forever, to try and get. But you could also have 1,000 kills or, I don't know, 100 hours of survival time in the game. Whatever it is, it could be anything to try and get you to continue to play and work towards a large, lofty goal that has a decent and, sizable reward at the end. It doesn't need to be, it shouldn't be BP. It needs to be something that you're like, oh my God, I need to have this. Imagine like like a golden level 3 helmet or a super sick AR skin or an outfit or something that can just say, I put the time in and this is something to grind towards. Now, I can already hear you guys, well, the hackers are going to come and they're going to do this and that. Okay, well, guess what? I'm not a hacker. You're probably not a hacker. We need something. The regular players should not be punished for maybe the behavior of someone else that isn't us. I just want to play the game and work towards something interesting. So long-term, regular, seasonal rewards for playing the game is an absolute necessity to keep the population coming back game after game, day after day, month after month to play PUBG. And that's something that needs to happen. This and the Erangel loot are my two pain points. I really feel like as a regular player that we're being underserved by long-term, meaningful achievements and progression systems. All right, prepare for Russell Jimmy's. This one's going to piss a couple of you guys off, but I believe this one is absolutely necessary as well, and that is for PUBG to go free to play. That's right, free to play on Xbox, PS4, PC, all across. We should see a free to play environment for PUBG. Now, I can already hear you hammering your keyboards talking about the influx of hackers that would come with free to play. Maybe there would be. And actually, you know what? Probably there would be. Yes, PUBG has issues with hackers. You guys tell me in every YouTube comment about the state of the game and flying cars and what have you. But you know what? That's only a small negative side effect for what would overall be a terrific change. There are regions in the world, specifically Australia, sometimes even North America, where the population is so low that matchmaking is not functioning in FPP modes. Third person is generally pretty fine, but PUBG does now have somewhat of a population problem off peak times in certain parts of the world. This is not a glaring issue. I can still get a game pretty much any time of the day in North America, so I'm not as affected. But North America generally has had its player base eroded by its competitors to the point now where we're seeing the same people in every single game. We're not seeing those newbies, those interesting moments. PUBG needs new blood, and I think free-to-play is something that is a great way to do that. If you look at a competitor like Ring of Elysium, a game that's just come out, it has its fair share of bugs. It has a lot of glaring weaknesses, but people don't talk about it because it's free. PUBG was not free. You paid $30, and that was a major point of complaint from a lot of people on Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, wherever, where we've paid for a game that is filled with bugs and it's not fair. If the game was free, all that negative word of mouth would kind of be negated. Even though the game has significantly improved, a lot of people just don't want to touch it because that's $30 extra that they might spend and be disappointed. So if PUBG were to go free to play, they would need to increase their revenue models and skins and a bunch of other things that maybe people don't necessarily agree with. But just think of what it would be like to kill newbies again. And I really think that free to play in a long-term sustainable model as a game that is supposed to be built as a service is necessary. Going free to play is the next logical step for PUBG, where its sales are still going up, but not nearly as quickly as they were in the past. They haven't necessarily leveled off, but there are a lot less copies being sold now, and looking forward to the future with the way that now the content is coming out a little bit faster. PUBG Corp should be able to service a free-to-play model in a meaningful way if they decide to take that leap of faith. And obviously there would need to be some compensation for those of us who did purchase the game. But at this stage, if you've played for 1,000 hours or 500 hours or 300 hours, you've probably got your money's worth. So maybe just maybe everyone gets the Player Unknown set or whatever, you know, something to compensate us for that initial $30 investment. But for me, if you work out the math, I've paid essentially like 2 cents an hour for as long as I've been playing PUBG, and that was a pretty good investment on my part. Maybe not for you guys, but I think, again, free to play is the way to go. And to round out the top 5, I have a bit of an omni change, or multiple different small things that I think would overall increase the quality of life of players. So I'll rifle them off really quickly for you. First, overhaul the UI and the launcher. The UI web page situation has to end. Whatever it takes, please free me from this awful UI in the game. I haven't even seen the lobby load because I have this freeze frame of the PUBG guy loading screen from when the game first launches. The launcher and UI need to be overhauled from the ground up. Scrap the website, move to a regular launcher like every other game has. Ring of Elysium is a good example. Blackout. There's a million different better ways that you could do the launcher that I think PUBG should address once they get other meaningful content in the game. Skin rewards. They should make sense. Stop giving me the same crap over and over and over again. Better daily and weekly challenges. Using 5 bandages is not a challenge. That is easy. I don't need that as a challenge. Give me something kill-based, something survival-based, whatever it is. Find that median that makes both sides of the coin happy as far as if you're an aggressive player, passive player. Make it so that you're surviving, killing, doing something in the regular course of gameplay, not having to use 10 painkillers in a week or something like that. That's ridiculous. The ranking system should be more impactful. I have not been playing this game very often since I've been traveling for casting, and yet somehow I've tripped and fell into Grandmaster. Now, I'm not a bad player. I'm not gonna tear myself down, but I've seen the stats of those who are super high on the leaderboards, who have like 1,600 games played, and their average ranking is like 5 or something like that. So they're just basically hiding for the entire game. I don't know. You can get Grandmaster in whatever way you want, but at least make the matchmaking system, put all the Grandmasters together or whatever. And again, maybe free to play helps that a little bit, where you have to round out the population. Maybe there's some limitations there, but the ranking system as it stands is just a picture with a rating next to it. It means nothing to me. I don't care that I'm a Grandmaster. There should only be like 500 Grandmaster slots available. You should be constantly fighting for it. It needs to make some level of sense and be a meaningful achievement. The ranking system needs a little bit more TLC. Maybe that'll come in the future as well. Guys, that is all the changes I believe that PUBG needs right now. As a quick reminder, you can watch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/wtfmoses. If you want to come berate me, you can leave a comment down below. But if you like the video, or if you agree with some of the things I said, hit that like button. It is a huge help. Again, don't forget to enter the giveaway. It's been running for the last couple of weeks. It's almost done for this month, so there is a link in the description down below. Check out the PC37 Extra Master Op. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll see you out there.